in our neighborhoods and we invest in young people, invest in our communities, we create better pathways to make sure that they have not only a great living wage, but opportunities to make the opportunity to live in this city. So without further ado, I want to welcome you, my mayor of my hometown, the Honorable Madam Mayor Bowser.
Let's give Daryl Gaston a big round of applause. Honey, salmon, and so many other delights that you'll be able to find at Kitchen Savages. So I want to welcome everybody to the Anacostia Arts Center. And we are pleased, as you heard already, that we're going to be talking about the D.C. government's and my administration's investment in creating more food opportunities in Ward 7 and Ward 8. I want to thank the members of the council, especially the ones who are here, who have been helpful in making sure we could protect those dollars and invest those dollars. I'll start first with your council member and host, Council Member Trayon White. I'm going to give Council Member White a big round of applause. And I'm especially thankful to the Ward 5 Council Member Kenya McDuffie, who has been so helpful in making sure that our investments in bringing businesses back would be bold, and that not only would we bring our businesses back from the pandemic, we would help them grow. So let me thank Council Member Kenya McDuffie, who chairs the Council's Committee on Business and Economic Development. So our $58 million food access fund will allow for more businesses to open that sell food and provide food and have sit-down restaurants for food in Ward 7 and 8. And that fund has grown to $73 million. And the main reason we're putting more money into the fund is that since launching it, we've awarded grants to 15 businesses to open or expand in Ward 7 and 8. And today, we are announcing 7 new businesses that will be receiving these grants, as well as 3 current participants that will receive additional funding. So let me congratulate our new awardees, the Go-Go Museum and Cafe, in Sapodia's Caribbean Restaurant, Dreaming Out Loud, Darnell's at the Museum, Cafe Poulet, Market 7, and Melange. I also want to congratulate 3 existing businesses who will expand or receive additional funding, and that's Little Ivy City Tavern, Sweet Tooth, and Las Placitas. So let's give them a big round of applause. And I want to be clear that these are recognized establishments. For example, Melvin Hines with the D.C. City Smokehouse was previously awarded the best D.C. sandwich and ranks among the best BBQ, barbecue, anywhere in D.C. I also want to acknowledge that Greg Caston, a 40-year Michelin-recognized D.C. restaurateur, is here today to represent the Ivy City Tavern. And finally, Melange also has a Michelin star chef who was recently nominated as a rising culinary star. So let's hear it for these outstanding D.C. businesses. We already know that we have talent, and we're all also asking for people to support our talent. especially during this week, which happens to be DMV Black Restaurant Week. So we helped launch Black Restaurant Week in 2018, and every year it is a fantastic opportunity to support our entrepreneurs. And so with that, I want to just continue to acknowledge the work that we're doing with our partners, with the community, and with the outstanding restaurant community in Washington, D.C., which is helping us bring alive corridors east of the Anacostia River with the type of amenities that people want. They don't want to have to always cross a bridge or go into Maryland to enjoy their restaurants and enjoy great food. So with that, I want to invite Councilmember White to make greetings.
Well, good morning. It's a great day to be in Ward 8. I'm humbly excited about the opportunities to the grantees. I think that we've begun with you all in mind. I want to thank you, Mayor Bowser, for your commitment to our local and small businesses in D.C. I want to also thank my colleagues, specifically Councilmember Ward 5, Kenny McDuffie, and also Councilmember Vincent Gray, who's also a champion for this funding. It's an awesome day to see that we are putting our money where our mouth is. We've been a city that's been growing exponentially throughout the years, and I know during the pandemic, a lot of the small businesses, especially restaurants, hotels, has been struggling. Even when I hear from Good Food Market, also the IHOP on Alabama Avenue to this day needs our support. And so when I hear the number of businesses that the mayor just mentioned who will be funded in this round three, right? Round three. It's gone from $58 million to the upwards of $70 million. And that's a real commitment. That's a commitment on behalf of D.C. We know that the food insecurities and economic and social conditions facing east of the river has been historic along the years, and we've gone beyond the conversation of talking about equality, and we're talking about equity and putting our money where our mouth is. There's an old scripture that says, where your heart is, that your treasure will be also. I want to thank you, Mayor Bowser, for putting our treasure to our local small businesses to ensure that we can dine, eat, and thrive right here in our community. So I'm excited about today. I look forward to the grantees doing much more, and we look forward to preparing next month, January, for round 4. Ain't that right, Mayor Bowser? All right, thank you all, and God bless.
So the council member is right. Actually, on December 12th, we will announce that there's going to be more than $10 million available for round 4. But let's take care of round 3 today. And now it's my pleasure to invite Councilmember Kenya McDuffie, again, representing the Council's Business and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I am excited to be in the Great Ward 8 this morning. I'm especially excited because of what the mayor and her team and Ward 8 Councilmember Trayon White are announcing today. As the mayor mentioned, I represent Ward 5 on the Council of the District of Columbia, but importantly and relevantly, I am the chairman of the Council's Committee on Business and Economic Development, and I've had the pleasure of working with the mayor, the deputy mayor for planning and economic development and his team, as well as Councilmember Trayon White, as well as Ward 7 Councilmember Vincent Gray, to be more intentional about how we are investing in our businesses across the District of Columbia, but in particular in Wards 7 and 8. And so it's because of, I think, all the inequities that the people in here are well aware of that D.C. residents of color face. One example of those disparities is the fact that there's only 14% of district businesses that are owned by black or brown entrepreneurs, despite the fact that in the District of Columbia we have more than 40% of the people who live here are black residents. But if you look at the sign right here, you see the type of effort that's been made, and I think Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Falchicchio, and their team deserves credit, and Ward 8 Councilmember deserves credit for focusing the district's resources to do something about it. So let's give them a round of applause, please. And the reality is we're doing it by leaps and bounds. We're talking about over $70 million being invested here today. But we also have programs like the Equity Impact Fund that provides financial assistance to women and minority entrepreneurs, direct investments being made to local banks and community-minded financial institutions that make loans to business owners of color, to our Commercial Property Acquisition Fund, which gives black and other disadvantaged business owners funds to make down payments or acquire their commercial properties. We're also supporting our Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and our Black Chamber of Commerce here in the District of Columbia, and we are being intentional about doing that because we know that they are touching those small owned businesses that are here in the District of Columbia that are locating and serving residents who for some time have felt marginalized and disconnected from some of the amenities and prosperity that we've seen in the District of Columbia. So our Food Access Fund is just one of those ways that we're continuing to make those investments. And frankly, I can't wait to see some of these businesses open up so I can come back out here and join some of you all in enjoying great food and great options that are going to be more plentiful under the leadership of Mayor Bowser, my colleagues on the council, Treyon White, Vincent Gray, but also just making sure that you continue to hold us accountable for how we're investing in you. So thank you, Mayor Bowser, for allowing me to be a part of this, and thank you to the residents in this community for demanding more and demanding greater of your government. We appreciate you all.
Okay, so now we're going to hear from our restaurant community. First, Aaron Tucker Oluwole. Is it Oluwole? Oluwole, who is the co-founder of DC Black Restaurant Week, followed by Melvin Hines, and then we are going to close it out hearing from John Falchicchio, the Deputy Mayor for Economic Development. So with that, Aaron, please join us.
Thank you, Councilmember McDuffie, an advocate of business and economic development for all. Thank you, Mayor Muriel Bowser and Deputy Mayor John Falchicchio for your support over these last 5 years of DMV Black Restaurant Week. Thank you to the Bowser administration and DC government, DMPED, DSLBD, the Office of Community Affairs, the Office of African American Affairs, the Office of Nightlife and Culture, and many more. We also would like to thank our partners and sponsors, PEPCO, the Greater Washington Urban League, RAM-W, DoorDash, Greater Washington Black Chamber of Commerce. Since 2018, we have always been engaged and connected with our Ward 7 and 8. It is this year we have had intentional partnerships. Marshall Heights Community Development Organization, Market 7, Anacostia Arts Center, and Wakefield, as well as Pennsylvania Avenue Main Streets. DMV Black Restaurant Week was founded in 2018 with 3 co-founders, myself, as well as Farrar Tate and Andra A.J. Johnson, along with 35 partners, and now have grown to over 100 partners, inclusive of food trucks, caterers. Our mission is to increase the awareness of Black-owned restaurants and food service providers through professional development and education while creating an ecosystem to support and sustain the community. So where are we? 1, nationally. There has actually been a 28% increase in Black-owned businesses in the United States as of the third quarter of 2021 than it was pre-pandemic, according to the U.S. News and World Report. Technically has ranked DC metro area number 2 for Black-owned businesses as of February 15th, 2022. In 2022, we collaborated with DSLBD as well as the Office of Nightlife for Caribbean Heritage Restaurant Week and Wakefield and Anacostia Arts Center for a taste and shop highlighting the catering community. As a community, you reached out to us. You stayed engaged. You congratulated us on what we were doing. You also gave us very strong recommendations on how we should improve, and we listened. In our community, for our communities to grow and scale and sustain, we need the efforts of private, public community, as well as an inclusive mindset. That is what we are doing with DMV Black Restaurant Week, because all businesses win if we work together. There is room for all of us. There is space for all of us. So this year, our theme, which begins today, is reshaping our community through ownership and luxury. Ownership with the explosion of new food and restaurant locations, and with luxury spaces such as Manifest on Florida Avenue Northwest, the purchase of the Waldorf Astoria, Salamander, DC, and our partner Gathering Spots. We will highlight these businesses and continue to partner. As an owner, Melvin Hines, owner of D City Smokehouse, not only did you see our vision in 2018, but you believed in us and have been a partner since that time.
It is important for us as residents to also know that you are our partner also. We need you to make it your intention every day to walk into a local restaurant and actually be a part of the welcoming of quality food service and excellence in love through every plate. So it warms my heart to welcome everybody who don't know, should know, Melvin Hines, the owner of D City Smokehouse, an amazing restaurant over here in Ward 8 and also in Ward 5. Mr. Hines.
I have to really thank these guys. They've been supportive since the very beginning, so I do appreciate it. But good morning. My name is Melvin Hines. I'm the owner of Southeast Restaurant Group, parent company of D City Smokehouse. We are so thankful to be part of the Food Access Fund and thankful to Mayor Bowser and her office in leading this initiative. As a long-term Anacostia resident myself, for years I've dreamed of the opportunity to bring D City Smokehouse to my beloved community, and now that time is here. We have been so blessed by the outpouring of the community support in the Bloomingdale neighborhood at our location at 203 Florida Avenue. But now we're coming to my home here on Good Hope Road in Southeast DC. Today, outside, you get a chance to meet my general manager, Victor Webster. He will be in charge of the location right here. Sharice John, my partner in life, she's the head of my sister restaurant, sister company, Revive Events and Catering, as well as our brand ambassador, Shorty Corleone. You may know Shorty for his impact on the DC go-go scene, but we're excited to collaborate with Shorty on our new expanded menu, including D-City wings and shorties. Speaking of food, we hope you all enjoy a taste of our smoked turkey this morning. In preparation for the holiday season, once again, we'll be offering our Thanksgiving menu. This curated package meal features our smoked turkey and popular sides. Every year, these holiday meals are a real treat, but they do go quickly. So if interested, please let us know. So thank you again, Ms. Mayor, for having us here. We look forward to seeing you in our location. And just as, I guess, breaking news, we anticipate opening on November 21st. So we will be opening the doors to the community right away. So again, we're thankful to be part of the Food Access Fund and thankful to Mayor Bowser, as well as DMPED. You guys have been extremely helpful as well throughout this process. It's time for the well-deserving folks east of the river to get a taste of some of the best of DC's expansive food scene, and we're proud to be a part of this new movement. So, as we transition, next up will be Deputy Mayor of Planning, John Falchicchio. We'll have some words for you. Thanks a lot.
Well, good morning, everyone. So we've talked a lot about the great restaurants. If it hasn't made you hungry, there's something wrong with you. But there are samples outside, and I'm holding you up from those samples, so I'm going to be brief. But Mayor Bowser mentioned the number, $73 million. And Councilmembers Trayon White and Councilmember McDuffie, along with Councilmember Vince Gray, had to fight to make sure that every one of those dollars stayed in the budget. So let's give each of them a round of applause for their work. So back in 2015, when Mayor Bowser became the mayor, we looked at a big problem, food access in wards 7 and 8. And we did some analysis, and we saw that 86,000 people were outside of 1 mile of a grocery store or a fresh food option. 86,000 people in the nation's capital outside of 1 mile of a grocery store or a fresh food option. So we started to do some work. We put some programs in place, and we made some significant progress. So currently, when you look at what we've done with both the Food Access Fund, the Neighborhood Prosperity Fund, Nourish DC, and working with our partners across the government, currently there are 42,500 residents who are outside of that 1 mile access point, right? So we could clap for that, but it also shows that there's more work to do. And what we're here to celebrate today is not just the great food options that are coming, but if all of these grantees deliver and all of them open their doors, which we know that they will, right? Yeah. I'm looking at Mary, right, Mary? Yes. Mary says yes. We're going to reduce that number even more. So with these investments that we're making today and all the investments that we've made in the Neighborhood Prosperity Fund, the Food Access Fund, Nourish DC, and others, we're going to bring that number down to 10,150. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. But we applaud, but we also recommit ourselves today to the work ahead. We've got more work to do. That's why it's so important that everybody looks at obviously.dc.com and thinks about that December 12th. How are you going to be part of this? How are you going to be part of this solution and bringing more fresh food towards 7 and 8? So on December 12th, we'll open up the next round of the Food Access Fund. And there's probably folks at home who say, I don't know if I could do it. Can I really be that entrepreneur? Can I really open up my own restaurant? I'm glad that we're joined today. The first Food Access Fund grantee is actually open for their operations. And it's a tropical smoothie cafe at Skyland. And so before they opened their first tropical smoothie cafe, they were actually government workers. One, David, was a Metro bus driver. Alicia was an EPA worker downtown, not too far from the Wilson Building. And today, they're here. They've joined us. Come on up, David and Alicia. They've joined us today because they have their first DC location. It's at Skyland, and it's our first Food Access Fund grantee that's opened up. So as a former bus driver, as a former EPA employee, they thought, I want to work for myself, and I want to help my community. And I'm pulling them onto the program without them knowing it. Okay. But just tell me what you told me on Friday. Tell everybody what you told me on Friday about why you do this work.
Sure thing. So first thing first, hello everybody, and thank you guys for having us here. And we do it for the community. I mean, the answer seems really simple and short, but that's exactly why we do it. I mean, we came into the Skyland community on purpose. We saw the need for, we saw the need for a healthier food option. We also wanted to be amongst the project. We know it was 20 years in the making, and we just felt like that was the perfect location for us.
Also, too, I'm going to add that we have a commitment to the community and to the young people in the community, and that is to build them up and to mentor them. We found that even in our first location, in our second location, a lot of these kids, they need someone to talk to. They need a hug. They need someone to let them know that they care. So it's just not about opening a business and making the money. It's really about mentoring the next generation. They go through a lot. A lot of our staff go through so much. And just to know that they can call us at any time, they can, seek anything. Sometimes it's just a ride. We tell our staff all the time, if you just need a ride to work, as long as you want to get here, we'll get an Uber. We'll get a Lyft for you, and we'll get you back home. So it's like I said, it's not about the business. It's really about building up the next generation, young adults and kids. So that's what we do it for.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you guys to stay up. So I wanted to bring them up, and Mayor, I'll ask you to come back up too. We're going to close out the program and take some questions from the press. But before we do, I brought David and Alicia up because a lot of times we talk about our map. We talk about $73 million investment. We talk about bringing people 1 mile within a grocery walking distance to a grocery store or a food market. But there's David and Alicia. There's also, I'm going to ask them to come on up. There's also Ron, Samantha. Come on up. Don't be shy. Samantha, Chris, Darnell, Ty, Mary, Elias, Greg, Sarah, and Isadora. Council members, can we have you come up too? Because we want to get a photo. So when you talk about the Food Access Fund, it's not just about the food that we're going to deliver, it's the people who are delivering the food. So let's give them all a big round of applause. You got to come a little tighter, guys. Come in a little tighter. Come on in, come on. Yeah, come a little closer. Here, you can step up, Mary. We can see you. You'll be able to see me. Yep. Let's give them another big round of applause. Mayor, I'll ask you to stay up. And then also, just want to do, oh no, Mayor, not Mary. Maybe one day, Mary. But also just want to thank Tim White and Samangle Cook for the work that they do to make sure all these grant programs go as well as they do. With that, Mayor.
Thank you, John. Let's give John a big round of applause and the entire DMPED team. And you heard it said here that they came to Skyland on purpose. I heard that also in our new Anacostia businesses from Darrell and Melvin coming to Anacostia on purpose because they have a great concept, good food, and they want to be in a wonderful community. So with that, we'll take a few questions. Any questions?
So you're announcing this third round of funding. Is there a reason, did you want it to coincide with DMV Black Restaurant Week?
I think we were ready. I'll ask John about, it's of course good to have the synergy with DMV Black Restaurant Week, but I also think we're kind of finished with the selection process.
I love it. It's kind of like a question the mayor asks. When are we going to do the next one? So what we normally do is we're announcing these awards of round 3 today. And what we want to do is we always want to give people a little bit of a heads up so that during DMV Black Restaurant Week, restaurateurs, entrepreneurs can talk about, hey, there's another round of Food Access Fund opening up in December. So it gives the marketplace and the entrepreneurs a little bit time to get together, think about how they might apply. And then also one of the things to apply is that you need to either have a lease or an LOI at a location. So it gives people time to kind of cross all the T's, dot all the I's to know where their location is going to be. That's why we give the folks a heads up and open up around in about a month.
Gotcha. And then a follow-up from Mayor Bowser. How important is it that you are furthering black businesses, especially restaurants that, have a history of turning over very quickly in the food space?
Well, you heard a number that Councilmember McDuffie mentioned a little bit earlier. So this is one tool. There are other tools that we will use to promote racial equity and how we spend the district's dollars, but this is one important tool. 14% of our businesses are black-owned in a city that's known as Chocolate City. So we know we have to be more intentional about how we invest with our business owners as well. Any other questions? Questions?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of on the whole Black Restaurant Week. Are there deals to be had at these restaurants? Are there incentives for people to go to these restaurants other than obviously
Let me ask Dr. Tucker Oluwale.
These businesses?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You can see all of the restaurants at dmvbrw.com. There are deals as well as specials. But more importantly, these businesses stay on the site for an entire year. And we also do have a listing of all of our restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
I have an off-topic question,
Yes.
Mayor. Tomorrow, you will be elected to a third term as the mayor of the District of Columbia. I didn't say that to get an applause line, but nevertheless, it's a fact. But at the same time, Mayor, I heard somebody mention terrorism in the city. And you do have a situation right now where a number of young people are, let's say, carjacking folks. Somebody carjacked somebody in front of my house on Friday. The ANC commissioner over there, I live about 5 minutes from here, said that carjackings were up 550% in that area. So I guess my question is, what are you going to do differently in your third term? You've tried violence interrupters, you've tried building blocks. I know Prince George's County, for example, tried a curfew. It seems to be having some impact. But what should we expect? Because it doesn't seem what's happened so far has worked.
Well, let me start with the first part of your question. And it's important as a public service to remind everybody that tomorrow is the last day to vote. Everybody in the District of Columbia every voter was sent a ballot. They can fill that ballot out at home and drop it off in any of our drop boxes. And you can go to the website for the Board of Elections if you don't know where where the closest drop box is. And so I want to remind everybody to vote. Yes, I am on the ballot. I won't say anything political, but I'll wait for the results of the election tomorrow night in my race to be able to express my appreciation to the people of the District of Columbia. This is why I think they sent me from the primary to be mayor again. And to ask people for their trust is a big thing. But they trust my leadership. They know that I will be there to make the tough decisions. They know that I will work with everybody in the public safety system, and that I will demand that we as a government do all that we can to keep every neighborhood safe. They also know that I'm going to go to the community and say, community, this is where we need your help. And I'm especially concerned about any issues related to guns in our city, the increase in gun violence and the increase in the number of people who are carrying guns, and the condition of our young people. Very young, carrying guns, using guns. And so we need all aspects of our system, from prevention to accountability, to be working. So you're asking me, what are we doing differently? And here's the truth. And ever I have seen spikes in gun violence throughout my tenure, from being a ANC commissioner, council member, and mayor, is we literally throw everything at the problem. And we watch to see what works, and we adjust as we go along. So while any use of a gun, any young person dying on our streets is unacceptable, I do know that we're seeing progress from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So we are, and every day, I'll talk to the chief this afternoon, what worked this weekend, what didn't work with this weekend, and what will we be able to do to adjust. But I will tell you that we're very concerned about how young some of our kids are that are getting involved in violence and how willing they are to use guns. So a focus on our juveniles and young juveniles. And even coming out of the pandemic, we've seen younger and younger people using guns. So that's our focus right now in SAM. And whatever we need to do to pivot around those youth is on the table.
Any idea of a summit of the city to look at this problem, say involving ANC commissioners, people who get carjacked, who face this every day?
I think that there have been a lot of opportunities for public discussion, and there's going to be more. I look for an opportunity to have a citywide convening that is focused on the next 4 years if we're blessed with a transition period. So expect me to say more about that in the coming days.
And Mayor, just following up on Sam's question, we had 14 shot over the weekend. Did the chief imply that any of these cases are somehow being related? And then the second part of that question is, with the revised criminal code, I know you said that you would not support signing that, but what if the city council overrides that decision? What would be your response then?
I think you are familiar with how the legislative process works here, and your question refers to a bill that has gone through the council, and to be fair, it has gone through a commission that made recommendations to the council, and now the council has voted on that bill once. My concerns about it haven't changed since the last time we were together. And I do hope that the members of the council will work on it before they vote on it a final time. Many of my concerns echo those of the United States Attorney, where this update was meant to be an update, and is a needed update, has some new policy positions, and it also weakens penalties in some violent crime areas that I'm concerned about. And it also presents new policies that could slow the courts down, and so take their attention off of felonies and other violent crimes. So I do hope that the council will address that before they take a vote on it for a final time.
There were members that worked on that committee who said that you or your representative were not present at meetings and did not pose any recommendations or any concerns about it during the time before they brought it to the commissioner and to the council.
Oh, I think the record will reflect otherwise. Yes.
I mean, it's on record.
My statement remains. The record will show otherwise. Yes.
If I could circle back to juvenile violence, if you could comment directly on the data released by MPD. So far this year, more than twice the number of juveniles who've been shot and killed has more than doubled so far this year, and the number of juveniles simply just shot, non-fatal shootings, has also doubled so far this year. I know you've talked about throwing everything at it, and that the end of the year seems to be better than the earlier in the year, but we just saw a very violent weekend that, you know, those numbers aren't even included in the data that I just quoted. What do you say about just this really huge spike in the number of juveniles who've been shot and killed on our streets?
I think the number that I saw, Mark, was 14, and that's 14 children, some of them very young children, who died on our streets. Another fact that you didn't mention is probably that they died at the hands of another young person, another juvenile. And so we have young people who have been victims of crimes and young people who carrying guns who committed these crimes. And we have families that are shattered by these crimes. We may also have families who knew their kids were in trouble before they got killed or before they used the gun. And so our challenge as a community is to make sure that all of those families know the services that they can get to that would keep their young person from walking out of the door with a gun with an intent to kill.
I had two other off-topic questions. One, can you update us on what's happening with the Office of Migrant Services? We continue to see buses dropping off at the Vice President's home as recently, I think, as yesterday. We haven't heard anything about a site being found that you were looking for to have a, I don't know what you would want to call the center that you would have stood up. And we haven't heard anything about, you know, the promises of the $10 million that was funded having people at Union Station 24/7. What's the latest with that?
I think we are still recruiting a leader for that office, and we'll make that announcement as soon as we are able. And our Department of Human Services, however, and all of these DC government teams have been at work on the issue every single day and are meeting buses where we have the intelligence at the time that they are going to arrive.
How about finding the site? Are you having a problem finding a site suitable for whatever type of facility you want to stand
We
up?
continue to make sure that we have the facilities that we need to service people as they arrive.
If I could just ask, the Washington Teachers Union dropped off a petition at your office this morning urging you again to sign a contract, come to some kind of terms with the Washington Teachers Union contract. I know we've asked about this before over the past several weeks, but what can you tell us? What needs to happen in order for a contract to
The
get signed?
Washington Teachers Union needs to say yes to an outstanding offer that's on the table. That's what needs to happen. And what I have told teachers as they stopped me just yesterday, I was in a community in Ward 5, and I was talking to a teacher. And what I had to give her some context. We have settled with employees. We have 37,000 employees that work for DC government. And this year, we have settled 10 contracts with our employees. And when those contracts go to their memberships for votes, they're getting votes of over 90 and 95% of the members are saying yes to the contract that we put on the table. I think the same would be true for the Washington Teachers Union if they put our terms in front of their membership. And I really wish they would. So we want teachers to know that just like with our comps 1 and 2, over 10,000 employees, just like with the firefighters, just like with the school administrators and principals, we've put a great deal on the table that is fair and it is needed. I want our teachers to have the back pay that they deserve, and I want them to have the competitive raises that they deserve. But we need their leadership to say yes. We at least need a leader at the table who can say yes. So if I'm at the table, I'm the yes for DC government. We can't have, a back and forth with, a committee on the other side. I'm starting to think that the leadership of the Washington Teachers Union, because they can't agree with each other, they want it to go to arbitration. And that's not fair to the teachers. That is going to delay their money. They should have their money right now. So we need somebody on the other side that can say yes. So it's fine to be walking around a building that you know is empty because I'm here and it's on my public schedule. But it would be better to sit at the table and be able to have a partner on the other side who can say yes. I want our teachers to get their raises. They're long overdue. They should have had them in June. It's time for the Washington Teachers Union to stop playing games and get the teachers their money. Yes.
Mayor, so I'm just wondering, based on what you were saying about the shooters and the victims being juveniles, do you think this carjacking thing and this shooting, the record number of shootings of kids, is this all related? Is this basically the same problem?
I'm not sure that I get the gist of your question, but many carjackings have involved young people, Sam, and many of them have involved guns. So the prevalence of guns in the hands of young people, increasingly younger people, is fueling some violence and fear in communities. Thank you.
We now return to our previously scheduled program, already in progress.